السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Okay, so in the 11th juz, at the end of Surah Al-Tawbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that there's already come to you a messenger from amongst yourselves. And this messenger who's coming from amongst yourselves, Azizun alayhi ma anittum. So what you're going through, the grief and the suffering, everything that you're going through, it is a very mighty thing. It's a very heavy thing on him. So it weighs upon Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it is a very difficult thing for him to watch us go through, for him to bear, watching his ummah struggle, and that is both those who are believers as they are dealing with the kufr and the shirk, and that is in those that are around them, as also as they're struggling with what resides within themselves as well. And then also for the non-believers, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is rahmatul lil alameen. He is the mercy for the entirety of creation. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wants everybody to accept Islam and to become Muslim and be safe from the hellfire, as Allah subhanahu wa taala says. Um, this is not in the hands of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah yahdi man yasha. So um, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's very well aware, of course, of the aqidah that Allah Ta'ala is going to guide whom He wills, but it is the desire of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam being the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rahmatul lil alameen, and being sent with this message of rahmah, and being uh, the representative of the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and receiving the Quran, and acting as the ambassador of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the whole of the humanity, that he wants everybody to be safe from the hellfire. And now specifically, Harisun alaykum bin mu'minina ra'ufur rahim. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is always wanting this for us, and Allah and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is very kind and merciful upon those believers. So this attachment that, because remember in the previous surah, in Surah Al-Anfal, and then now moving into this one, where now this conflict, the physical conflict, now exists between the Muslims and non-Muslims, and then also Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam at this time is now the head of state, and Allah subhanahu wa taala has now made a demarcation. There's been a severing of ties between non-Muslims and Muslims. So this distinction itself has been declared by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of course, is those who are accepting Islam and accepting the message. Um, those are the ones who are the closest to him, and those are the ones whom Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the most merciful towards. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that in Surah Al-Fath as well, that Muhammadur Rasulullah والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم. So this is an aspect or a characteristic of the believers, that they are merciful to each other and amongst themselves. Now, for those who are not accepting the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so even though Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam wants everybody to get hidayah, and he knows that this is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa taala, Allah subhanahu wa taala recognizes that this the discomfort and the hardship, that this thing, it weighs upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because as all of us, when you have a goal, you have an objective, you have this mission, and the mission specifically, if you think about this, the mission is to save the people from the hellfire for all of the eternity. And it's not just about his family, because we often mention Abu Talib, but we have to remember also that the Quraysh are part of his family as well. But not only that, that he has a love for the believers, and the believers, he's recognizing that those believers, that their family members are dying without Islam as well. We just had a brother this week that his brother had some medical issues and had to have brain surgery, and he was pronounced brain dead. And now, the he passed away as a non-Muslim. And this the brother is a convert brother. He's recently come into the fold of Islam, and now this thing for him, having to experience this, um, uh, where his family member is now passing away, and there's nothing that he can do for him. And I've also experienced this as well. It's you feel crippled, and you feel completely you feel like you wonder if you've done enough. Did you do enough? Did you give enough da'wah? Did you represent Islam and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam properly? What could you have done more? So then there's these feelings of guilt that I didn't do enough. So it's a very heavy thing to carry when you're watching people die without their Islam, especially when you already have an emotional and psychological attachment to that person because they are family. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is experiencing this himself. He is seeing the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they are also experiencing this, and he is bearing the weight of all of this. But not only that, because Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not, his thinking was always all the way through the akhirah. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is thinking about Yom Al Qiyamah. He's thinking about, his concern is what's going to happen on the day of judgment. His concern is what's going to happen to the Muslims and to people in the grave. And his concern is what's going to happen to people when they die. And his concern is what is happening to the people here while they're in a state of kufr and shirk, or if they don't believe, or if they do something to bring about the anger and the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But now, that is not just in terms of looking at the progression of the human existence and the human experience, going through these stages of their existence, but is also for each and every one of us. So every generation, succeeding generation that comes, and the ones that come before, the ones that came before us and the ones that come after us, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is also bearing that weight as well. It was not just during the time of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. وَإِن تَوَلَّوْا, and if they turn away, so those who, um, whether they come into Islam and then they leave, or whether they come into Islam and they're munafiq and they're fake, they're imposters, or they never accept Islam. So if they turn away from the message for any reason, they are not accepting this message at the hands of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَقُلْ, so say, Hasbi Allah, that Allah is enough for me, sufficient. Allah is sufficient for me. La ilaha innahu, there is no God except for Him. Alayhi tawakkalt, I have put all my trust upon Him. Wa huwa Rabbul Arshil Azim, and He is the Rabb. He is the master of the mighty Arsh. Now the transition goes into Surah Al-Yunus. So now this, right after this, the link here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins with the huruf al-maqtu'at. So these isolated letters, alif lam ra, tilka ayatul kitab. So after Bismillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins with the huruf al-maqtu'at, then tilka ayatul kitabin hakim. So these are the ayat of the book of wisdom. أكان للناس عجبا أن أوحينا إلى رجل منهم أن أن أنذر الناس وبشر الذين آمنوا أن لهم قدم صدق عند ربهم قال الكافرون إن هذا لساحر مبين. So now this is what's being brought to the forefront, that are the is humanity, is mankind, or they are now they are amazed that we have sent wahi, divine revelation, to a man from amongst them, and that he should warn the people, and that he should give these people this understanding and deliver this understanding that your life, you have a purpose, there is a defined purpose for your existence, and if you do not fulfill that objective, that purpose of your existence, then there's going to be repercussions, there's going to be ramifications. So delivering this dire warning to the whole of the humanity. وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and those who believe, to give glad tidings to those who believe, that أَنَّ لَهُمْ قَدَمُ صِدْقٍ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ, that for them is a very lofty, that their status with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's different ways that you could translate this, but they have a very lofty position or status with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قَالَ الْكَافِرُونَ إِنَّ هَذَا لَسَاحِرٌ مُبِينٌ. And then what do those who are ungrateful disbelievers, they say that without a doubt that this, meaning Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he is a clear sahir, that this is magic, and he's a magician, wizard, warlock, whatever you want to, however you want to translate that. So again, this whole issue of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is there. He is not. Again, it's that human experience, and wahi is being sent in to a human being from amongst them, somebody that they can relate to, because again of that shared human experience, as opposed to an angel or a jinn or what have you. And that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is there is to be um, uh, uh, a warner and a giver of glad tidings. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is not there to guide, meaning that he doesn't make the decision. And Allah Subhanahu wa Taala says very clearly that you are not, you are, it's not for you that you are going to be able to guide whom you love. So here, this is important because in Surah Yunus, in Surah Yunus, this is also a consolation for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, coming at the very end of Surah Tawbah, which is dealing with the hardships that came with the Sahaba, as they were going through these very intense trial after trial after trial, test after test after test. And it wasn't a matter of like you fail, you pass one and you're good. You had to pass each and every one of them. So Surah Tawbah had to do with those who, even though they had made a mistake and there was a lapse in their decision making process, that they turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they made tawbah, and Allah ta'ala accepted their tawbah. But this difficulty that the believers are going through, this separation between them and the non-Muslims, the physical conflict that is taking place between them and non-Muslims, and then on top of that, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is going through this intense hardship because of the weight and the responsibility of the mission itself. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bringing this, and what is it that with the people that are they amazed that this person, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the Rasulan min anfusikum, and then here, ila rajulin minhum. So this Rasul, which is a man from amongst them, that he is the one who is bringing this message from Allah subhanahu wa taala. And in Surah to Yunus, Yunus alayhi salam, if you go to the 98th ayah, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فلولا كانت قرية آمنت فنفعها إيمانها إلا قوم يونس لما آمنوا كشفنا عنهم عذاب الخزي في الحياة الدنيا ومتعناهم إلى حين. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is letting us know here that out of all of these peoples, um, that the only ones who benefited from their prophet and the ones that actually believe was the qawm of Yunus alayhi salam. And the thing here is that in the qissatu Yunus alayhi salam, that Yunus alayhi salam, that he had that they had reached a point now where that was it. He had been delivering the message and delivering the message and delivering the message, and he is carrying this weight and this responsibility, and he's fulfilling the rights and the obligations of this responsibility, and his people are not believing. So now the time had and the determination had come that his people are going to be destroyed. And what happened was is that Yunus alayhi salam, he left before the order of Allah came. So it wasn't that he abandoned his people, it's just that the Amr had not come yet. So the same thing on Hijrah, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Sahaba were already leaving. So it was like an understood thing that this hijrah is taking place. But Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam could not leave until the amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came, because they don't act and they don't say according to their own personal desires or their own personal understanding. They are now acting on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they're waiting for the amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Yunus alayhi salam, the decision had already come, and he left before the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came for him to do so. So now as he's leaving his people to their punishment, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes him through, as we know, he ends up in the belly of the whale, and mashallah, we don't have time to go through the whole story right now, but um, we know that Yunus alayhi salam, he makes this, he becomes very humble in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. That he says that, oh Allah, there is no God except for you. Subhanak, that you are perfect, and all praise is due to you. And this subhanallah is a very difficult word they say glory be to you, but it's so much more than that. Inni kuntum min al-dhalimin. Undoubtedly, from amongst the oppressors. Yani, meaning that to nafsi. I have oppressed myself. That I have wronged myself. I have acted outside of what is these parameters that you have established for me. So now, when he after the Allah Ta'ala brings closure to his personal situation, where he goes through this trial period, and now Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala brings him back to his people. His people are Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala shows Yunus alayhi salam, and shows the rest of us that Allah yahdi man yasha, that it's never too late. So the people of Yunus alayhi salam actually believed, and now, as Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says, that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that lifted from them the adab, the punishment in this dunya, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now gave them from the things from amongst this dunya for this time period. So this is a consolation also to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that keep your hopes up, keep doing the work. It's all in the hands of Allah. You never know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always doing something amazing. And this is for all of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing something, always doing something amazing. And that is who Allah is. So Allah in His magnificence and His ilm and His hikmah and His knowledge and in His wisdom, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does the tadbir of the entirety of the creation. So the planning and the planning and the organizing of everything for the entirety of the creation. So for in the story of the Qisatul Yunus alayhi salam is hope for all of us, that you never know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to do, and you never know whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to guide, and when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to guide them. That our responsibility as the Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is to walk in his footsteps, and that means that we make the effort, that we carry the load, that we bear the weight, and we don't look at the nata'ij, we don't look at the results. We just stay focused on fulfilling the amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whomever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, that is to their benefit, and whomever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leads astray, then that is to their detriment. Just one more thing before we go, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As this is the month of the Quran, and in ayah number 57 in Surah Yunus, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhan nas, Ya ayyuhan nas, qad ja'atkum maw'idatun min rabbikum wa shifa'un lima fi suduri وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says for the entirety of humanity. So, Ya ayyuhan nas, not just Ya ayyuhan ladina amanu, Ya ayyuhan nas, that oh humanity, قَدْ جَاءَتْكُم مَوْعِظَةٌ. So this um you said a wa'id is somebody who's like does like preaching. So it's like everything wrapped into one. So it's the warning, and it's the glad tidings, and it's the do's and it's the don'ts, it's everything, it's the admonitions, and it's the encouragement, and it's all of it. So this all of this is coming min rabbikum, from your Lord, was shifa'un lima fi sudur, and it is a healing, it is a cure for what is in your chest. So these illnesses and these sicknesses, they reside within us. And the Quran الشفاء للناس, and it is وهدى ورحمة للمؤمنين, and it is guidance, and it is rahmah, and it is a mercy for the believers. This distinction is there. So for the entirety of the humanity, it is so. No matter what your sickness is, no matter what's wrong with you, no matter what you've gone through, no matter what you're going through, no matter whatever type of difficulties, whatever situation you might find yourself in, the Quran is for you, the entirety of the humanity. There is no exceptions, regardless of where you are, no matter what your condition is. It is the thing. It is what you need. You need kalam Allah. You need that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for those who recognize this, who actually want the truth and want to be guided and want the forgiveness of Allah and want to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and want to have that that dark black hole, that void that's within them filled, and wants the weight of the depression and the anxiety and the stress and the agitation and the irritation and the frustration and the anger and the disappointment and all of this miasma of ill feelings that constantly plague us, and even those things that we realize that are inside of us that are bad, that are wrong, when we our conscience, if you want to call it that, that's a term for something else, but our conscience is telling us that your greed is hurting people, or that your anger is hurting people, or that your jealousy, your envy is hurting people, that your selfishness is hurting people. So when we see those things in our conscience is telling us that you're sick, there's something wrong with you. Same thing, people with addictions, you see that this addiction is hurting you, whether it's addiction to money or to the physical activity, let's call it that, or whether it's an addiction to like a substance. No matter what the addiction is, and there's a variety, there's a multitude of possibilities when you're talking about addiction. But no matter what that addiction is, that sickness that addiction stems from, that resides in the heart, that the Quran is shifa'un linnas, it is the cure for whatever ails the human being, fi sudur, in their chest, wa hudan wa rahmatun lil mu'minin. And if you really want to be cured, and if you really want to be free from this sickness, if you really want to be free from all of these oppressive feelings, then the Quran is for you. It is for the believers, as Allah Ta'ala stated in the very beginning. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ excuse me, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ هُدًى and ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. So yes, it is huda, it is hidayah, but it is for the people who want to come out of a state of ghafla. It is for the people who want to get better. It is for the people who want to come out of a state of obliviousness. It is the people who want to put forth effort and are willing and ready to make a sacrifice. And it is through that effort, and it's through that sacrifice, it is through the relationship with the Quran, and that is an in totality. That's the learning of the Quran, how to recite Quran. That is the recitation of the Quran itself. That is learning the meaning of the Quran. That is putting the Quran into practice. And by default, that means that when you're talking about the Quran, you must include the life of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And that is what we're, again, bringing us all the way back to the beginning of at the end of Surah Al-Tawbah and the beginning of Surah Al-Yunus, is that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we are receiving this Quran. It was wahi, which was delivered to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So in order for us to truly appreciate the Quran and to be able to access the Quran and this healing that comes with the Quran, we must be able to appreciate, and not just appreciate, but to have a high level of reverence and veneration for the one to whom it was sent, our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa taala make all of us lovers of his beloved Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us people of the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use this Quran, especially during this month of Ramadan, as a means of shifa, as a means of healing and succor, has a meaning of relief from the anguish and the difficulties that we find in our hearts and the sicknesses that are within our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use this Quran to fix us and to bring us closer to Him. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us consistency in the recitation of the Quran and the learning of the Quran and implementation of the Quran. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from ever being separated from this Quran and separated from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to die as believers, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise us on Yawm al-Qiyamah as believers, as part of the Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Jazakumullah khairan jaza wa akhiru da'wan and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhanallah wa bihamdi subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi rahmatik nastaghith. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, I will be reciting from the first quarter of the 13 juz. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما أبرئ نفسي إن النفس لأمارة بالسوء إلا ما رحم ربي إن ربي غفور رحيم. وقال الملك ائتوني به أستخلصه لنفسي فلما كلمه قال إنك اليوم لدينا مكين أمين. قال اجعلني على خزائن الأرض إني حفيظ عليم. وكذلك مكنا ليوسف في الأرض يتبوأ منها حيث يشاء نصيب برحمتنا من نشاء ولا نضيع أجر المحسنين. ولأجر الآخرة خير للذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون. وجاء إخوة يوسف فدخلوا عليه فعرفهم وهم له منكرون. ولما جهزهم بجهازهم قال ائتوني بأخ لكم من أبيكم ألا ترون أني أوفي الكيل وأنا خير المنزلين. فإن لم تأتوني به فلا كيل لكم عندي ولا تقربون. قالوا سنراود عنه أباه وإنا لفاعلون. وقال لفتيانه اجعلوا بضاعتهم في رحالهم لعلهم يعرفونها إذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم لعلهم يرجعون. فلما رجعوا إلى أبيهم قالوا يا أبانا منع منا الكيل فأرسل معنا أخانا نكتل وإنا له لحافظون. قال هل آمنكم عليه إلا كما أمنتكم على أخيه من قبل فالله خير حافظا وهو أرحم الراحمين.
ولما فتحوا متاعهم وجدوا بضاعتهم ردت إليهم قالوا يا أبانا ما نبغي هذه بضاعتنا ردت إلينا ونمير أهلنا ونحفظ أخانا ونزداد كيل بعير ذلك كيل يصير قال لن أرسله معكم حتى تؤتون موثقا من الله لتأتونني به إلا أن يحاط بكم فلما آتوه موثقهم قال الله على ما نقول وكيل وقال يا بني لا تدخلوا من باب واحد وادخلوا من أبواب متفرقة وما أغني عنكم من الله من شيء إن الحكم إلا لله عليه توكلت وعليه فليتوكل المتوكلون ولما دخلوا من حيث أمرهم أبوهم ما كان يغني عنهم من الله من شيء إلا حاجة في نفس يعقوب قضاها وإنه لذو علم لما علمناه ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون ولما دخلوا على يوسف آوى إليه أخاه قال إني أنا أخوك فلا تبتئس بما كانوا يعملون فلما جهزهم بجهازهم جعل السقاية في رحل أخيه ثم أذن مؤذن أيتها العير إنكم لسارقون قالوا وأقبلوا عليهم ماذا تفقدون قالوا نفقد سواع الملك ولمن جاء به حمل بعير وأنا به زعيم قالوا تالله لقد علمتم ما جئنا لنفسد في الأرض وما كنا سارقين قالوا فما جزاؤه إن كنتم كاذبين قالوا جزاؤه من وجد في رحله فهو جزاؤه كذلك نجزي الظالمين فبدأ بأوعيتهم قبل وعاء أخيه ثم استخرجها من وعاء أخيه كذلك كدنا ليوسف ما كان ليأخذ أخاه في دين الملك إلا أن يشاء الله نرفع درجات من نشاء وفوق كل ذي علم عليم. قالوا إن يسرق فقد سرق أخ له من قبل فأصرها يوسف في نفسه ولم يبدها لهم قال أنتم شر مكانا والله أعلم بما تصفون. قالوا يا أيها العزيز إن له أبا شيخا كبيرا فخذ أحدنا مكانه إنا نراك من المحسنين. قال معاذ الله أن نأخذ إلا من وجدنا متاعنا عنده إنا إذا لظالمون. فلما استيئسوا منه خلصوا نجيا قال كبيرهم ألم تعلموا أن أباكم قد أخذ عليكم موثقا من الله ومن قبل ما فرطتم في يوسف فلن أبرح الأرض حتى يأذن لي أبي أو يحكم الله لي وهو خير الحاكمين. ارجعوا إلى أبيكم فقولوا يا أبانا إن ابنك سرق وما شهدنا إلا بما علمنا وما كنا للغيب حافظين. واسأل القرية التي كنا فيها والعير التي أقبلنا فيها وإنا لصادقون. قال بل سولت لكم أنفسكم أمرا فصبر جميل عسى الله أن يأتيني بهم جميعا إنه هو العليم الحكيم. وتولى عنهم وقال يا أسفا على يوسف وابيضت عيناه من الحزن فهو كظيم. قالوا تالله تفتأ تذكر يوسف حتى تكون حردا أو تكون من الهالكين. قال إنما أشكو بثي وحزني إلى الله وأعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون. يا بني يذهبوا فتحسسوا من يوسف وأخيه ولا تيأسوا من روح الله إنه لا ييأس من روح الله إلا القوم الكافرون. فلما دخلوا عليه قالوا يا أيها العزيز مسنا وأهلنا الضر وجئنا ببضاعة مزجاة فأوف لنا الكيل وتصدق علينا إن الله يجزي المتصدقين. قال هل علمتم ما فعلتم بيوسف وأخيه إذ أنتم جاهلون. قالوا أئنك لأنت يوسف قال أنا يوسف وهذا أخي قد من الله علينا إنه من يتق ويصبر فإن الله لا يضيع أجر المحسنين قالوا تالله لقد آثرك الله علينا وإن كنا لخاطئين قال لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين اذهبوا بقميصي هذا فألقوه على وجه أبي يأت بصيرا وأتوني بأهلكم أجمعين ولما فصلت العير قال أبوهم إني لأجد ريح يوسف لولا أن تفندون قالوا تالله إنك لفي ضلالك القديم فلما أن جاء البشير ألقاه على وجهه فارتد بصيرا قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون قالوا يا أبانا استغفر لنا ذنوبنا إنا كنا خاطئين قال سوف أستغفر لكم ربي إنه هو الغفور الرحيم فلما دخلوا على يوسف آوى إليه أبويه وقال ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين ورفع أبويه على العرش وخروا له سجدا وقال يا أبت هذا تأويل رؤياي من قبل قد جعلها ربي حقا وقد أحسن بي إذ أخرجني من السجن وجاء بكم من البدو من بعد أن نزغ الشيطان بيني وبين إخوتي إن ربي لطيف لما يشاء إنه هو العليم الحكيم رب قد آتيتني من الملك وعلمتني من تأويل الأحاديث فاطر السماوات والأرض أنت ولي في الدنيا والآخرة توفني مسلما وألحقني بالصالحين ذلك من أنباء الغيب نوحيه إليك وما كنت لديهم إذ أجمعوا أمرهم وهم يمكرون وما أكثر الناس ولو حرصت بمؤمنين وما تسألهم عليه من أجر إن هو إلا ذكر للعالمين صدق الله العظيم اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تباركت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. اللهم صل على محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وسلم تسليما. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم. الله أكبر الله أكبر. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا